You are in the middle of the $1 billion clarity industry. If you've ever paid for coaching, consulting, therapy, the list goes on. But the problem is, most people don't know what clarity is, how it behaves, yet it's universally recognized as something that feels good. Even when confronting something sobering and difficult, the willingness to face it, the willingness to be clear about it, feels good. Denial, muck, fog, inherently feels bad. So what is this thing called clarity, and how can you bring it into your life instantly? That's what we're going to explore here in this video. So first thing I want to address is, what is clarity? Kind of a strange word. The root of clarity is the word clear, which means transparent. So typically we think of clarity as the addition of a piece of information, but the word clarity means clear. It actually means the absence of muck, the absence of noise. So I'm going to bring you through an example or two. If you were stuck in the woods, an analogy that might, relate to your life somehow. Say you're in a Jeep driving around in the woods trying to get out, and you don't know how to get out. But someone somehow sends you the GPS information to show you the exit, to show you the way out, where previously you didn't have that. So we think that because you get this new information about how to get out, that clarity comes from new information and it always pertains to a circumstance. But the question was, does the real clarity come from that piece of information? Or does it come from the relaxation of the struggle, of the confusion, the relaxation of what was pointless thinking and tinkering that never would lead you out of the woods in the first place when you originally were lost? Would that piece of information give you clarity if you weren't in that struggle to begin with? So does the clarity have more to do with the piece of information, or does it have more to do with the relaxation of a goal-based struggle? Let's bring this to another example. When you were in your life, at the last point in your life where you had a huge moment of total clarity, where it felt like your entire being came to grips with something and finally saw something clearly and accurately for the first time in a while. Was something added to you in that moment? Or was the experience of clarity actually an experience of stopping? An experience of totally stopping and totally being here and allowing yourself to see clearly? Could that clarity have happened if all of the thoughts that were happening before it were happening? Or was the clarity a removal? So what changed when that moment of clarity happened? I'd like you to consider the possibility here that clarity itself is not something that comes from external circumstances, but rather clarity is the default state, something inseparable from you that is allowed to shine forth time to time when a struggle ends, or when we are willing to look at something that we previously weren't willing to look at. That it's more based on subtraction than it is on addition. And that if you subtracted everything from you that could be removed, what would be left is pure clarity on its own. Is there something about you that is always clear? And when you see fog, when you are blurry, when you are lost in the woods with your Jeep not able to escape, how do you even know? Does it not require a previous level of clarity to even see fog? And if you explore this in your experience, what you'll notice is that clarity is actually a prerequisite to fog. Circumstantial clarity comes and goes based on circumstance. But the clarity of you, the clarity that you actually are, doesn't depend on circumstance. It's always here and it's always clear. And if there are periods of your life where you feel clear and you feel foggy, is clarity actually coming and going? Or is there just a sense of clarity coming and going, which the entire time is being perceived by clarity itself? So these are all questions you can consider, and you have to not listen to me, but you have to observe this in your life and see if it's true or not. But I promise you, if you seriously think about this, you may notice that there is something that's always clear about you at all times. There's something always sane, clear, simple about you that you can't be removed from. It doesn't matter what someone does to you, because clarity is a prerequisite for confusion, cloudiness, and illusion. And so as we keep talking here, I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't get consulting services, you shouldn't get therapy, you shouldn't get coaching of some sort, because those are all circumstantial bases of clarity. You'll notice that there is something clear, something transparent here, perceiving your experience, something that you can't put your finger on, that's always here, that never leaves you. Clarity itself is always present. And I'm talking, but there's really nothing you can say to bring it out more or to stuff it down more. It's always there at all times. That's what always here, always clear really means. And I'll do a meditation video on clarity after that, so tune into that video if you would like to do the meditation. But if this clarity could say something, it would say, rather than I'm lost, it would say, I am always clear regardless of where I am. It's like a compass that always points to here and now. And this might sound trivial, it might sound stupid, but it has a real impact on how you feel in every moment if you can see from clarity at all times. You are looking from clarity at all times, and the only thing that makes it seem less clear is if you're forcing it to look through a mental view, a mental lens. Your real body is clarity. Your true self could be much more accurately described as clarity than as Steve or whatever your name is. Stevity. Imagine you have a flashlight and you're in a dark room and there's a bunch of fog in the room. Where you point your flashlight, it's going to hit fog. So to see the fog, the prerequisite is having light. What we generally think is that clarity means the fog has to lift, the fog has to disappear. And so while the fog lifting will give you an immediate view into your circumstances, that the fog lifting in the room, the physical room, will give you a clearer picture of the shape of the specific room that you're in at that moment. In both cases, the light itself is required for you to see the fog or see the room. And the light itself is the clarity that I'm talking about. It is the light of pure perception. Or if you don't want to call it pure perception because you can't find that as a thing, it could just be the default is clarity. Emptiness is clarity. Nothingness itself is clarity. And that is from where you are looking. No place. Right here. So if you're ever lost, if you're ever feeling insane, you're ever feeling foggy, a lack of clarity, just remember, where are you looking from? If there's ever fog in your room, don't forget that you are the flashlight. Let me know if this is helpful. Drop a like if this was helpful. Welcome to Clarity. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.